Alright, let's just say it right here and get the most obvious thing out of the way. Yes, it's awesome that Justin Chon is actually directing this. Because if you don't know, he was one of the best friends of Bella in Twilight. But you know what's also cool about this? And I know a lot of people are probably like, Twilight? Really? Why is he already starting with this? Guys, Twilight, like, even if you don't like the movies, they have an amazing cast of people who are really artistically crafted and special. Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, Anna Kendrick, and now Justin Chon's directorial debut is here, Blue Bayou. And I have a lot of thoughts on this one, so let's get started. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing the brand new drama Blue Bayou, directed and written by Justin Chon, and also starring him and Alicia Vikander. As a Korean-American man raised in the Louisiana Bayou, he works hard to make a life for his family, but now he must confront the ghosts of his past as he discovers that he could be deported from the only country he has ever called home. I have been very excited since the premiere of this at the festivals a couple months back. One of the biggest reasons is because I'm a major fan of Alicia Vikander. I love also seeing new directorial debuts, especially from people who maybe like haven't really had much of a career after, like, say, a big franchise like Twilight. And it's not saying that he was one of the biggest stars of there, but I love seeing these kind of like people come out of nowhere and really make a name for themselves. And I think after this movie, I'm really excited to see what Justin does next. But we'll talk all about that, but I do want to hear your guys' thoughts. Have you guys heard about this movie? Are you guys excited about this movie? Let's discuss it all down below in the comment section, as well as making sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you guys enjoy movies, because this is seriously the channel for you guys. I am the Wolf of Geek Street. I'm a geek. I'm a movie lover, and if you're here, you're probably the same way as me. So let's have those great conversations down below. I think one of the big things I do want to get out of the way straight off the bat is I like this movie, but at the same time, while it packs an emotional punch, and honestly, like, if my eyes are a little bit red and I feel a little bit more of emotion, I just got out of the movie and I drove right home and I needed a place to talk about this because I do feel an emotional core towards this film and the passion within inside of it, and in general the story and messaging behind it, which we'll talk about. No spoilers, of course, but the thing about this movie is that while I still liked it, I didn't love it, and I felt for every great aspect of the movie, there was something that frustrated me. But even with that, then, I would still recommend this movie because it might be different for every person who watches this, and probably one of the biggest things I will say about this movie is I don't think this movie is going to do huge in theaters, but where this movie will truly thrive on is a streaming service. When it finally jumps onto a Hulu or a Netflix or an HBO Max or wherever it goes, people are going to discover this movie and be like, why is no one talking about this? Why is this emotional movie really hitting the soft spot here? And it'll be one of those movies that really thrives in there. So if you want to be one of the cool people to see this movie first, go see it in theaters. Of course, getting back to the actual review, let's start with the performances, because Justin Chon is great in here. As a director and writer, I cannot even imagine actually having to do all that and then come on board to actually act your ass off. His performance in here is very subdued, but very personal, and you can feel that he put all of his emotion into this film, and not just, again, from the directing, the writing, and of course himself, but his performance is really much showing to this. And of course, he does have a relationship with Alicia Vikander's character in here. They are husband and wife. They have kids with one another. And Alicia Vikander in here, I mean, just once again proves why she is one of the best actresses working today. Guys, seriously, she is phenomenal. I love her. Ever since she made her debut in Ex Machina, at least for me, I have been obsessed with her, and ever since then, she has never disappointed me with a performance. She's absolutely incredible in here, and she definitely brought a lot of emotion to this. But again, their chemistry works wonders. You believe in them as a husband and wife. And one of the other things is the family element. You believe that they have had this family for a while, that they're trying to have a new family. They have a baby on the way. But one of the big core pieces to this is their daughter, who's a stepdaughter to him. And man, as a kid performance, she was fantastic. Also, a big shout out to Lin Pham, who honestly does a great job as well, and again is an important part to this entire story. That is kind of one of the biggest aspects, is the story here. Justin's story that he has created and crafted is something that is emotional, and when you leave the theater, you're going to start looking up some of the important aspects of this, finding out that kids who were adopted from different countries and coming to America during a certain period of time, the fact that they are technically illegal or immigrants is absolutely heartbreaking. And to see how this is still such a big prevalent issue today and no one is talking about it, you'll leave the theater wanting to riot and actually start something, start making a change. And I love how the story was able to do that without bonking you over the head, feeling like it's just there to tell a message. No, it wraps you into the story, wraps you into this family, makes you feel like you are a part of them or at least know them personally. And then to see where the ending actually takes you, I mean, it'll just rip your goddamn heart out. And you'll feel emotion, you'll feel happiness, sadness, and you'll feel all of that throughout this movie. And it makes for an impactful thing. And that's where I really go as far to say is that I love the story here and the messaging behind it all. But like I said, I like this movie. I didn't love it. And it was because for every great aspect, there was something that frustrated me. And if you hear my words clearly, I said story. There's some stuff wrong with the screenplay. I do feel like the screenplay felt like a first-time screenplay, and it did feel like it needed a couple more rewrites. One of the big things is there's a couple characters in here that I would have completely gotten rid of. I don't think it really tackled into the message any more than it needed to, and I think it kind of deterred away from certain things and actually took away from the dramatic tones, and I think some people might feel like this movie becomes a little bit manipulative. For me, I didn't think it was, but I can see this being a way for some people. But even going again to certain characters that are in this movie, they did deter from what was actually going on. And I think if you would have gotten rid of them, maybe changed the screenplay just a little bit, it still would have packed the same emotional punch through and throughout. There's also one character in here that I personally feel like kind of had this shift, this heart of change that came out of nowhere and did not need to be there at all. And I wish they would have focused in on more of what made that change than anything else, because at one point they're so hostile and then the next time it's like, no, I'm there for you. And it's like, what? Since when? Going from there though, the other thing that was a little bit frustrating, which is crazy to say, is the directing for here I'm hit or miss with. The way that he was, again, being able to really passionately direct his actors, his actresses, and really much get the story gone through and even create this movie. I mean, this movie does not feel cheap whatsoever. It really does feel like a fully fleshed out vision, and you can see the passion behind the screen and even in front of it of what you're watching. With Justin's directing, though, I didn't love how he decided to shoot the movie. Some of it works, and at times it kind of reminded me of like a home video, the way that he decided to shoot it. Other times, though, this way of shooting deterred my way of actually viewing the film and maybe even gave me a little bit of a headache as I was trying to like piece together. I'm like, why is he shooting it like this? Because not every scene is shot like this home video shaky cam. Some moments I can understand why he went for that. Others I do not think was needed at all, and again took me out of the film. Even with that said, by the end of this movie, I was locked in and I left the theater needing a place to come talk about this, which is the reason that I created this YouTube channel and the reason I do movie reviews is so I can talk about film. This movie made me an emotional wreck. It struck a passion inside of me and it hit me in a way that I would really still recommend this movie, even though I still feel like the directing was not top tier and I was a little bit hurt by some of the frustrating choices he did and even some of the stuff within the screenplay. Even with that, the performances, the story, the messaging, all of it is so powerful. It has still made me an emotional wreck by the time that I'm still doing this. And I'm probably still going to be one for the rest of the night, maybe even into tomorrow. I really liked Blue Bayou, and I would still very much recommend this. I love a lot of aspects about this, and there's aspects of this movie I didn't like. But what I will say is that not all directorial debuts are fantastic. Some of them are still trying to find their way, and Justin Chon's directorial debut makes me excited to see what he does next. Because after this, I'm keeping my eye on him for sure. So with all that said, I'm going to give Blue Bayou a B. If once again, guys, for clicking on this. You guys are seriously all the best. I'm really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. Are you guys excited for it? Have you already seen it? Let's discuss it all down below in the comment section, as well as making sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Head on over to Justin Chon Films on how to see films early. And of course, just a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So of course, until next time, stay classy.